Today's video is sponsored by Michaels. Hello friends, I hope you guys are doing well. I am especially excited for this video because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time now. I am so obsessed with looking at people creating ceramics, and yet I've never done it myself, probably not since I was younger. So I went out and got some Sculpey clay from Michaels. I got the original Sculpey clay, which is the white big block one, and then a bunch of Sculpey number 3 clays, and those are the colored ones. But we're gonna, I think, work with the original Sculpey today because I think we'll just paint on top of the clay instead. And then I got this like rolling pin from Michaels as well. You could probably use anything like cylindrical, like a pen or something, to roll the clay as well, but I just saw it there and I wanted to grab it. So I am just gonna start off by grabbing a little bunch of clay and rolling it until I honestly don't know. In this moment I didn't know what size to kind of roll it to, but I would definitely say, like, if you're doing clay pins or earrings, which is what I'm going to be doing today in this video, I would definitely do like maybe a 1/4 inch thick or like a 1/2 inch maybe for pins. Since this was like my first time doing this, I wasn't really sure exactly what I was doing, so I just kind of tested a bunch of different things and found what worked. But yeah, and then I just am taking my X-Acto knife and cutting out a little mushroom shape. In the beginning, I'm definitely just kind of sticking to what I know, and so I thought mushrooms would be the perfect, like, easy shape to do and also paint. And I love little mushrooms. I think they're so cute. So that's what I'm going to start out with, and then later on I'm going to do a couple more designs. But yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of like, each time that I cut it out, I definitely have to smooth it out with my fingers, or else it's too kind of like rigid on the ends, and there's a lot of, like, I don't know, bumpies, which I'm not sure the difference between the Sculpey 3 clay and the original Sculpey, which is what I'm using here. Maybe the Sculpey 3 clay is a little bit easier to work with. I'm not exactly sure, but I figured out that I just have to really, like, smooth it out, like spend the time to smooth it out more. This first batch is a little like all over the place because I just didn't spend a ton of time on it, but my second batch turned out like a million times better just from spending that time to smooth it out with my fingers. But man, I just have to say, I felt so relaxed while doing this, and like even after. I don't know what it is. I think it's something about like working with your hands and turning something like a literal blob of clay, turning it into something that you molded. I think it's so fun and so like therapeutic. And now I have all these cute little pins. I'm probably going to sell some of these in my next shop update, probably most of them, and then I'll make some for myself too. But I definitely want to keep making little like earrings and pins, especially because I've been really into cute dangly earrings over this past year. Like finding new like original ceramic earrings I think is so fun. But yeah, now I'm just placing them all on a pan, which is going to go into the oven. I'm going off of the instructions that Sculpey gives, which is 275 degrees for 15 minutes, like for each 1/4 inch thickness. So I just followed the exact instructions and popped those in, and while those were going in there, I started molding a couple more clay designs. I'm going to make a couple more designs for like pins, but I'm also going to make in this batch a ton of like smaller little mushrooms to make into earrings, which I think will be really cute. And while this was going on, I had the fire alarm go off in my apartment from, I guess the ceramics have a lot of fumes or something. I'm not exactly sure why, but if you you have a sensitive fire alarm like I do, I would definitely be mindful of that and like open all the windows to prevent that from happening, because it freaked me out. So it's time to paint them, and I'm using my Winsor & Newton Galleria paints, which I'm using for the first time. I got these from Michael's just the other week, and also my Artist Loft paintbrushes, and I'm also mixing the acrylics in with some gouache paints that I have. One, because I needed a couple more colors in my palette, and then two, because acrylic paints are really dry. So if you're trying to put acrylic paint on like a rough surface like ceramics have, it's definitely a little bit more difficult to work with. So I kind of just put a teensy bit of water on my brush, not very much, or else it'll be pretty like transparent and you'll have to go in with more layers. I will say that I find I have to do like 2 to 3 layers of the color, like a full layer, and then let it dry and then go in with a second. But yeah, it was pretty easy, and the paint dries really quickly on clay, so it didn't take too long to just wait for the paint to dry. And yeah, now I'm just doing a little face on my little mushy friend. I think I'm gonna do faces on all of my little mushroom pins and earrings because I think it's so cute. And for the smaller ones that I made to be made into like jewelry, so like earrings or necklaces, before I put it in the oven, I don't think I captured this on camera, but I just put a small little pinhole. But whatever I used was not very good, so I think I need to invest in a little tool to be able to do that. You can see they don't look the best. The clay gets a little like wrinkly, and so I just kind of need to invest in a little tool to do that. There's probably something I have laying around the house that I could use, but my brain wasn't working and I couldn't figure it out, so it is what it is. It still looks fine, but in the future I'd probably choose something else. And now I'm just using my Acryla-Gouache pens, which are like an acrylic pen from Archer & Olive, to do the detailing. I definitely could have gone in with like a detail brush to do this, which is probably what I would usually do, but I've been loving these pens lately and they're so much easier to use. Sometimes you don't want to do a ton of detailing with a little small detail brush. It would probably have taken me like twice the amount of time. So yeah, this was kind of like a way around it. And as you can see, even when I mess up, I just put on another layer of paint and then just wait for that to dry to paint over it later or draw over it later, and it works out. Because I definitely messed up these mushroom faces like multiple times. It's such a small little face that you have to draw on there that it's like almost impossible for me sometimes, but I just have to remind myself they don't have to be perfect. I feel like part of the charm of getting like handmade ceramic pins and earrings is the fact that they do have those imperfections, and I feel like that's what makes them special. So that's what I tried to tell myself throughout this process, and I turned out really happy with them. So definitely don't be too harsh on yourself. I did also like purposely make sure that I wasn't picking like crazy intricate designs to paint and draw on these things, just so I wouldn't have to be stressed about that anyways. But yeah, I really want to make more of these in the future. I think with every big shop update that I do, I want to add some ceramic pins to each one. So if you guys have suggestions for me of things that I should try making, definitely comment them or message them to me, because yeah, I need ideas. I feel like I was running out of ideas because I was so focused on like the act of making the ceramics, but next time I'm gonna write down a bunch of new things to create. But yeah, I think this one that I'm doing right here is probably my favorite one out of the bunch. I love the ochre color, and I feel like the face turned out the best out of all of them. So I slowed it down for you to kind of show you guys my process. And I love the little, like, I wanted to do some like bottom eyelashes and a little triangle for a nose, because that's like the simplest and cutest also way of making a nose for me. I'm so bad with making faces. I'm really trying to improve that through like doing more character design and character illustration, but I haven't gotten there yet. This is my other favorite pin that I made. I did like a daisy one, which kind of reminds me of like a 70s kind of style pattern. So I feel like this one I should make a bunch of because I just love it so much. So I'm probably gonna make multiple of this one. I just wasn't able to do it all in this one video. So yeah, this is I think the last design that I'll be doing for the little mushroom set. And for some of the faces, I ended up really not liking them later on. So I actually grabbed my Tombow Mono sand eraser, which erases like inks and paints and kind of like whatever you want from stuff. I wasn't sure if it would work for this because I didn't know if the paint like seeped into the clay or anything, but it worked out really well. And this is how my little mushroom guys turned out. And now I'm just going to get out my last set of ceramics, which I'll paint really quickly. I did like a couple of like milk jugs and clouds and a little teapot, and some little animals. There's a couple more steps that I'm gonna do just to make them, one, look nice, and also to turn the smaller ones into jewelry. So we're gonna put the jewelry on, and then also we're going to kind of like do a light glaze on them. So yeah, just a FYI, after this step, there's a couple more steps to this. Sorry that this video is so long, by the way. I know. I feel like I have to apologize every single time. I just always feel so bad. I literally could not cut this video down though anymore if I wanted to. I think this whole process, this was one of the longest videos that I've filmed. I had probably 200 gigs of footage, actually probably more like 250, and this was because I literally spent probably 2.5 days making all these little ceramic friends. So it took a long time. I think a lot of it also was I was trying to figure out how to do it, and like in the process of me actually doing it, I was trying to like figure it out. And so I feel like next time it won't take as long, but yeah, this definitely was a lengthy process, but I loved every minute of it. I think it's such a therapeutic activity. So yeah, I am just finishing up the little designs on these last few ceramics, and the last one that I'm going to be doing is this little jar of roses, which I think is so cute. I'm just going to add some little highlights and little details, and now I'm going to clean up because my desk is a literal mess. One thing that I will say too is when you're starting your ceramics, make sure to have a super clean surface when you're doing like the molding process, because literally every little hair and fuzzy and dust particle will stick to your clay. And I definitely learned that the hard way. The first time I was doing it, I had a bunch of little fuzzies everywhere. So yeah, and now we are going to make our little pins. So I'm using this E6000 industrial grade glue that I got from Michael's. I actually found out about this through Cheyenne Barton's video on how she does her little ceramics, which I got so many tips from. That was the main video that made me want to start making little ceramic pins and stuff because it looked so fun. But yeah, I definitely got a lot of tips from her video. I'll definitely link her video in the description too. But yeah, I'm just gluing each one of my little pins on. I got a little yogurt berry snack to snack on because this was the next morning. I think this was day 3 of me filming this video. So yeah, I got my little breakfast and I just finished putting on all the little pins. And basically, I think the directions say to wait a few hours before handling them, so just let them sit there for a few hours. I, just to make sure, left them there for like a whole day, like 24 hours. But yeah, it was like way easier than I thought it was gonna be. And now I'm gonna go into my little jewelry box, which I have like a ton of little like hoops and stuff. I have 3 sizes of each little like hoop, I don't know what you call them. And so I put like a big one through the hole and then a smaller one. This is also my first time making jewelry, so I'm kind of learning this as I go too. Just an FYI, this might not be the best way to do it, but I feel like it turned out pretty good. I got a little set of like jewelry tools, which are those clampy things that you see, but if you have like pliers or anything like that, that could work too. But yeah, I used my own earring hoop things to try them on just to see what they looked like, and they turned out so cute. I just matched up the ones that I thought would look best together, and now I just want to make ceramic earrings all day. They're so fun. I want to like tie in more like beads and stuff later on once I kind of like know what I'm doing more, but for now I'm just keeping it simple. This necklace, I wanted to do a little cloud necklace, so I just did this little cloud friend, and I'm attaching all of the little clamps and stuff, and this is how it turned out. He's so cute. I named him Fred the Cloud. Fred the little cloud. I feel like I have to name all of my little ceramic buddies. Also, by the way, if you guys have any suggestions of how I could like do something better while making like these ceramic pieces or the jewelry, I'm totally like open ears to all suggestions, because I kind of went into this whole process blindly for the most part. So yeah, if you guys have like an easier way of doing something or a tip for me, I would love to hear it. But now I'm getting out my Mod Podge, which I'm going to create that like sheen on my pins and earrings. And I bought these cute little Mod Podge brushes too, which I didn't even know existed until I was walking around Michael's getting the glue and stuff, and I saw them and I was like, oh, they're pink. And the fact that I don't have to use my own like regular brushes for this, which I hate using my brushes for glue because I always feel like I'm gonna ruin them. But these brushes are nice and like flat, and they're kind of made to be washed off after, and so I invested in these guys. They were only $10, I think. They were really cheap, but yeah, I just kind of like put on a layer of the Mod Podge, which is, I think it's called Dimensional Magic. It's kind of like, it acts like a resin, but it's a very like thin kind of resin. And it goes on a little foggy at first, which I was a little worried about, but once you spread it out, it totally goes on clear, and I just love it. It's definitely a nice alternative to resin, which is a little harder to work with, and for UV resin, let's say, you would need like a UV light, which I just didn't have. I also got another thing called Amazing Clear Cast, which is a coating resin that I don't think it needs UV, but it takes like 7 days to fully dry, and I am just not patient enough for that. I think I'm going to try it for a project at some point, but I thought the Mod Podge would be like the perfect thing. So yeah, this is how I'm doing it for now. I'm going to try different methods in the future probably, but I feel like these turned out so good. And the fact that you can just pick them up after I think it was like a 30-minute drying time is so nice. I'm just not patient enough for the other stuff, so I'm just finishing up coating all of my little ceramic pieces, and I actually ended up hanging up all my little earring ones to dry on one of my little like lanyard things that I have on my fireplace, and I just love how shiny they are. And now the paint is kind of coated so that it doesn't chip off. I'm so happy with how they turned out, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me try out a new like whole nother art medium, I guess 2 new art mediums, doing jewelry and doing ceramics. And I want to say a big thank you to Michaels for sponsoring this video again. I will have all of those supplies that I use linked in the description box of this video. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Definitely let me know if you guys have any like suggestions of new art projects to do, but I really enjoyed this one. All right, bye guys.